What is up, T.O.Gs? Well, looks like the MSF course here is all wrapped up for the day. And I take that back. It's not MSF anymore. It's called Total Control, which is the subcontracted company that the California Highway Patrol or Safety, whatever. Obviously, it'll be up here on the screen for accuracy's sake. But you know what I'm talking about if you've learned to ride a motorcycle in the last decade or so. It's a lot easier to get your license if you go through one of these sponsored learner/rider courses. You take care of all of the paperwork as far as taking tests and also the written test if you go that route. Just easier all around. And then you're ready to get on the road. And actually, segue, that's what we're going to talk about today, is getting out on the road after your MSF class. So, let me check that. Your sponsored basic rider/beginner rider course. So, you're out on the road now. Now, on the basic rider course, you only rode like 25, maybe 30 miles an hour. I've heard from some people who took their course quite a while ago that they were allowed to ride a little bit faster than that, up to like 40 miles an hour, so they could make a very sudden stop, which is a good skill to learn. I would definitely recommend that. But today what we're going to talk about is getting used to the speed of the road and working your way up to highway/freeway speeds. So we're on a road right now that's 40 miles an hour, and that will probably seem, it'll seem fast to you if you have just gotten your motorcycle endorsement, but this is a good place to start. Now, this road has some slight little winds, little curves in it, and that's good. That's good to start with. I wouldn't recommend getting on some roads that are high-speed roads that have, really sharp or really wide sweeping turns at high speeds. That's something that you'll probably want to hold off on, getting used to these, like on a road like this, where you're taking a little bit, gentle curves before you work your way into the more advanced, was what I'll call it, turns. So let's just break these down into tips because it's easier for me to work that way. So the first tip would be, and that's what I was talking about, is to work your way up. So start here on like a 40 mile an hour road, get used to the speed. If it's easier for you, you'll want to get on a road that has less traffic. This is kind of a more heavily trafficked road to start on. So you might want to start on a single lane road that allows you to go 45 miles an hour. And that's actually a good segue into my second tip, which could go number one, either way, is that you want to plan your route. I don't know that if on Google Maps or like Apple Maps it tells you the speed limit on certain roads, but if you're not going to plan it out like on your computer or on your phone, take a drive and see what a good route would be for you to take, where you're starting out here on roads that are 40 mile an hour, and then maybe less traffic. Like once we get past that intersection there, it's pretty clear we're not going to have a whole lot of traffic out here. So we're out here 40 miles an hour, and we're able to get a feel of the speed. If we just got our first bike here, this is not my first bike, but if you just get your first bike and you're just getting comfortable on it, drive it around some neighborhoods where you can go 25-30 miles an hour first, and then work your way up to here. But definitely, like I said, tip number 2 would be to plan your route, so you can graduate to faster speeds at your own pace. Find a good long stretch of road that's fairly straight and it doesn't feel like you're going to be intimidated. So once you planned your route and you know where you want to go, you're going to want to pick a low traffic time. I know once you get your motorcycle endorsement, you want to get out there and you just want to ride right away, and that's great. But maybe for your first few rides, stay really within your means, and then wait on a time where you can get out in a low traffic time, or like I was saying before, now I'm out here on a road that just isn't very heavily trafficked, and that's what you want to do. But that, again, that goes into the planning stages. You know, if you got your license on a Monday or something, and you want to wait a really good time, I know for me in my neck of the woods. See, we're graduating here from 45, and now we're out here on a country road, which is 55, and we're able to work our way up to this speed. But what I was saying is a good time for me is Saturday mornings. You know, people sleep in on Saturday. People don't have a lot of plans on Saturday mornings, and if they do, they're going to, you know, their soccer games, their football games, and they're staying put. So there's not going to be a whole lot of traffic, especially on the highways. So it's a really good time to get out and practice. So when you plan out going out on a country road like this, again, this is something I mentioned before in other videos, is you want to make sure that it's a good road, that it's a quality, you know, well paved, well maintained road. Because if you get out on a road like this and it's bumpy and there's potholes and you don't know where they are, that's not a good recipe for learning to ride at higher speeds once you've got your motorcycle endorsement, your motorcycle license. So my fourth tip here is to ride within your skill level, or ride within your comfortability level, which is even more important. That was bumpy. See, this would not be a good road to start off learning at high speeds. I mean, it looks really well paved, but that was a nasty bump there. So you get out here, and right away, I think you'll know, you know, with your first bike, you'll get an idea of how comfortable you are on it. And before you head out here, you want to know how comfortable you are. You know, don't get overconfident, because that's definitely how you end up in trouble, is getting overconfident and getting out here and zipping around and not really knowing what your bike is capable of, not really knowing what you're capable of. So before you do that, before you get all gung-ho, you know, get to know your skill level and get to know your comfortability level, and definitely just stay within your means. I think this is something that's personal for everybody. You know, it's going to be different for everybody. Some people, like myself, when I learned how to ride, I was comfortable right away riding at high speeds, and maybe it's because I rode my first bike home on a freeway or on a highway, and so, you know, I was getting comfortable and familiar with my bike and my skill level very quickly. So my last tip here is something that you really want to keep in mind, because this is important as well, especially for your longevity as far as your riding adventures go, and that's have fun. You know, you get out here and you're riding, you're learning how to do it. Sometimes you'll have butterflies, sometimes you'll be really nervous, because being at your first time getting out at speeds of, you know, 55 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, it's going to be absolutely thrilling. It's going to be exhilarating. But if you're somebody who's very careful and somebody who's never done it before, you know, it can be nerve-wracking. So you just want to take it all in and have fun with it. And so what I will say, though, is if it's too much for you, you get out here and you're riding at these higher speeds and your nerves are getting the better of you, and maybe your hands are shaking, your palms are sweaty, Mom spaghetti, or your legs are going numb, it's because the blood is rushing to your heart because your heart is pumping so hard. Take it back. Take a step back. Go back to step number one here, or tip number one, which is work your way up. And stay with it. Like, another one of my tips is stay within your skill and comfortability level. If you're not ready to get out here and you're not ready to handle the nerves of riding at these speeds, don't do it. And that's how I'll close this video out, is just to let you know, if you're not ready to ride on the highway or ride on like, so we're out here riding at close to highway speeds, freeway speeds, and if you're not comfortable with this, do not go out on a multiple lane highway, because you're adding a factor of, you know, multiple lanes, cars zooming and cutting you off, and, you know, stopping hard in high traffic situations. You want to stay away from that until you're ready for it, because trust me, when you add so many other factors into riding at high speeds, it's only going to add to your uncomfortableness. That's a word. Your uncomfortability, your anxiety, and your fear. And that's not something that you want to ride with. But guys, that's all I've got for you today. If you like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up down there, which is the like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. If you're out there riding, be safe. And if you're not riding, get riding. I'm that one guy, and I am out.